Hey boys and girls, welcome to Social Studies. Last week we learned about the Appalachian Plateau, which is in the northwest corner. This is northwest. We learned about the Piedmont region, which is in the middle of Georgia. Today, what we're going to be learning about is the Blue Ridge region. The Blue Ridge region is in the northeast, the eastern side. Northeast. So Blue Ridge region is what we'll be learning about today. In the Blue Ridge Mountains, there is where you'll find the largest mountain range in Georgia. The word ridge, so Blue Ridge, the word ridge means a chain of mountains or a group of mountains. Okay? These mountains, they form a peak at the top. It means like they're really tall. The Appalachian Plateau, remember those mountains are flat on top? The Blue Ridge Mountains are pointy at the top like a pencil. I am going to show you the map of the Blue Ridge from Google Earth. I'm going to pull Google Earth up and I'm going to show you what the region looks like. So this is Google Earth, and so basically from space, what it would look like if you zoomed in. So this is Georgia. Now it's hard to see where the other states are because it's not completely clear exactly where the lines are. So right here, this is Alabama. Here where you see Atlanta, this is Georgia right here. Now we talked about the mountains up here, how those mountains are flat on top because they're more of a plateau. We've talked about the Piedmont region where Atlanta is and Stone Mountain. Now we're going to look at the Blue Ridge Mountains where they're very tall and pointy. So these are three different landmarkers. There is Tallulah Gorge and Amicalola Falls. So let's click and see what that piece, this is Tallulah Gorge. We're going to zoom in. It's an actual place that you can go to and hike up and see what it looks like. So as we zoom in, you might notice that it is definitely, where'd it go? Hold on. Okay, sorry, we're back. So if you can see, there's a bunch of hills and a bunch of mountains, and there is definitely water. There is definitely water that goes through this area. So this right here is Tallulah Gorge. Now these are more like rolling hills necessarily than mountains. It's hard to tell, but that is really steep. I mean, it doesn't look that steep because we're seeing it from high above, but those are pointy mountains. They're not flat on top like you would see in the other region, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Okay, so this is the Blue Ridge Mountains, what they would look like. Let's zoom out and let's look at some other examples. I want you to notice as I'm zooming out, there's not a lot of like neighborhoods and buildings. There's some a little bit in this area, but most of it is mountains and grass and water and lakes. So as I zoom out, that looks a lot different from what you would see in the Piedmont region where Atlanta is located. So I'm going to continue to zoom out. Now you can tell that this is more populated than where we were just a second ago. And this is probably like kind of where most of the people live in town. All right, Anna Ruby Falls is also in Blue Ridge. You might have heard about that before, Anna Ruby Falls. And there's Brasstown Bald. So if you notice, look at all those mountains where the brown and green. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see that this is mountainous, whereas over here it might not be so much. But there's way more mountains here than you would find in the Piedmont. So let's look at Anna Ruby Falls. Let's zoom in here and look at what Anna Ruby Falls looks like. All right, let's click on it and let us see what that area looks like. Now you can tell these are more rolling hills and mountains. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool that you can see. I'm going to zoom in even further so that maybe you can see Anna Ruby Falls is a waterfall. Let me zoom in as far as it will let me go. Let it clear up so that it's not so blurry. But right here, this is a river or a creek. They call it a creek that runs through here on this mountain, runs off this mountainside and runs down that way. So you can see these rolling hills with lots of green. And let's zoom out. Pay attention as we zoom out. Look at those trees and the rolling hills and the mountains, how they peak at the top. They're not flat at the top. And there's a lot of them. Look at that as we zoom out. This is called the Blue Ridge region. Look at those mountains. Pretty cool. All right. I'm going to keep on going. The last area is called Brasstown Bald. Brasstown Bald is another area in the Blue Ridge region. Ooh, those mountains are much more pointy than the ones we've seen. Look at that's where they point right there. They go up this mountain. That's where the point is, Brasstown Bald. Brasstown Bald, actually if you notice, it's a little place on the very top that you can go and stay. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit more. At the very top of this mountain, you can see this road that leads all the way up here to Brasstown Bald. Right here, it looks like maybe a landing strip for airplanes, possibly. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to zoom in closer to see. But right here, Brasstown Bald is a place you can actually go and stay at. It's pretty cool. You notice there's not many people, more like not neighborhoods. It's not flat necessarily. It's a mountain. So people can go stay at it. Pretty cool. That's at the top of a very tall mountain. Very, very tall. I'm going to zoom out slowly. You can see all those mountains. So just remember, the Blue Ridge Mountains have very tall peaks, very high mountains. The Appalachian Plateau, yes, there's mountains, but those mountains are flat on top. That is the difference in the way that they look. So we just zoomed in and looked at the Blue Ridge region. Okay? Now we are going to go to our must-do, where you will find the virtual museum that we're going to look at. So we have looked at the Appalachian Plateau. We have looked at the Piedmont region. Now we're going to look at the Blue Ridge region. Blue Ridge region. Remember, in order for you to click through it and watch the videos, you have to make sure that you go up to where it says present at the top. Click present, and then it will open up to the virtual museum, so that way you can click through it. Okay? So go ahead and go to your must-do. Make sure you click on present mode, so that way you can watch the videos and be jotting down notes. So join me back on Zoom, so that way we can get our notebook ready. I will see you in a moment.